Hi, everybody. Okay, I thought today I'd share with you the Poe Tarot sketchbook. Um, when I first started out doing art, I used to have a lot of originals, canvases, and all kinds of stuff, and it just got to be too much. I found that I didn't have room to store everything, and not everybody can afford to buy an original. So I started, especially with the tarot works that I do because I do so many sketches and paintings that I thought it would be better to put them in actual books, sketchbooks, and that type of thing. And, you know, so everything would be in one place and it's less of a footprint and much easier to store. So, and maybe someday down the road I'll decide to do something with these, but for now, this is where they are. So I thought it would be fun to share with you some of the images that didn't make it to the Poe Tarot. This has uh, the majority of the images that did. I'm pulling out tissue paper if you're wondering what I'm doing. It's not actually tissue paper, it's tracing paper. I put it in between the drawings so that they don't bleed onto each other. Um, so I have lots, and I'll have to go through and I'll have to put them all back in here, but I have lots and lots of tracing paper separating my drawings so that they last longer. Okay, so I think I got most of them out. There's still a few floating in here. Okay, so like I said, there are a number of images that never made it to the actual deck itself. And some of these images are not actual full blown drawings. They're just like little sketches, and then I went back and I added things later. Some of what I did, I ended up doing part of it in the book and then some of it digitally. So it really depended on what was needed. So this was actually the original Fool card. As you know, Poe is the Fool in the Poe Tarot, and I'm wondering if I actually have I pulled aside all these cards. Yeah. Okay, so here is the original. This is the Fool that made it to the deck. So it's Poe with Pluto, as you can see. So this was the original drawing that I had envisioned for the Fool. So there's Pluto right there with the jester hat on. So he did not make it as the Fool. Poe did, but he's still there. He just doesn't have, he's not wearing his jester cap. So, what else? Okay, so this was, we have, here's the moon card that made it to the deck. And this is the original moon card. So that was what the original drawing was. Oh, this is kind of fascinating. So I have to go through, I've got like all these cards all over the place. The High Priestess card, should have probably separated these ahead of time. Okay, the High Priestess card, this one, which is in the deck, was originally this image. Completely different. And I had the candles here, and I think when I drew this, that was when I decided that the candles were going to be wands, and it was like, oh, well, this, well, I don't want this to be the Four of Candles because it really doesn't make sense to me for that. And while I like this as an Empress card, or not an Empress, a High Priestess card, it really didn't serve the purpose of what I wanted it to be. So I went back, redrew it, and it became the High Priestess card that you see here, which is the bust of Athena. So, what else? The Sun card. This is kind of fun too. The Sun card. Here's the Sun card for the deck. And then this was the original drawing for the Sun card, which he's not even in this one. I mean, this could be just, you know, a random deck. It really, who knows, you know, what that has to do with Poe. And I think that was one of the reasons why I nixed it, because I was like, well, this doesn't really have anything to do with Poe, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Okay, what else? On the original drawings, what else didn't make it to go through this? Okay, well, I think I've talked about this before. This was going to be the Tower card, and of course the Tower card is completely different. It's Fall from the House of Usher, or Fall of the House of Usher, so that changed. Okay. This is the Temperance card. Okay, here we have Temperance. Okay. This was the original Temperance. Again, once again, what does it really have to do with Poe? It was a nice sketch, but it didn't make it because it didn't speak to me that it had anything to do with Poe. So I really nix that image all together. Let's see. Is there something else? A lot of these, all of these made it, but I'm going through at the moment. That might be it. Is that it? Oh, okay. This was the original 10 of Quills. The 10 of Quills, I believe we have Poe kind of hunched over his book with the quills sticking out of his back, which I like much better than this. This was sort of like she had pulled all the quills out of her back and were dropping them on the ground. But again, you know, while it makes for a nice tarot card, it didn't fit with what I wanted in the end, and so it didn't make it. So let's see if there's one more in here that and some of these changed a little bit as I went through. I decided to you know, alter them slightly. I don't have this card pulled aside, but if you find this card, you'll know that I believe it was the Five of Paws. It was one of my favorite cards to draw because it shows Pluto sort of, you know, either looking into the window or looking outside. We're not quite sure, but the window itself, what was in the window, which was his paw prints and stuff like that, that changed a bit. So it wasn't quite as doesn't stand out quite as much as this does, but so that changed slightly, and I believe that's it. There might be drawings floating around somewhere else in another sketchbook that didn't make it, but everything else in here did. So I thought that was kind of fun to share with you. I hope you enjoyed this little fun trip down memory lane with the Poe Tarot. And I hope you're enjoying your decks. And if you have a question for me about the Poe Tarot you'd like me to answer, send it my way. Take care.